write about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just discount? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Spending time all alone, sending my songs through the phone, dreaming of a better home, while focused on trying to this craft, witchcraft. I hope the brujas let this last. I don't know.
You are muted, sir.
And I'm not muted. That was a great sounds of WWE. That was great sounds. It was just great sounds in general. It's good to be alive. It's good to be above ground. My name is Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made EZ Blues is in the building on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. EZ Blues, you are better with introductions more than me. Who do we have with us today on Behind the Brand? Go ahead, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to jump once again in the DeLorean. We're going to throw that up to 88 miles an hour, and we are going to go back in time. Here we are, strangely, we're going to walk upon, say, a church on Orange Street, where you got to hear one of the most incredible falsettos that were out there with such a warm and lovely tone. Fast forward to my very couch. When talking about the writings of music, we were sitting. And truly and thankfully, we found some of the most incredible conversations that could happen with some of the most intense lyrics from a point of view that I never, ever, 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 ever saw coming. But then, and only then, from the worship team to the stage, there becomes this amazing human being that formulates with a phenomenal sound that gives you a feel of slight bit revival, slight bit organic, slight bit neo soul, and just a mix of Americana. And there is the beautifulness that is OK Company. And it is okay that our company today is the amazing vocalist from OK Company, Lucretia. Welcome.
Thank you. Honestly, I've never been introduced better than that. That's beautiful.
Well, it's also that's what we love about the show is we have the free range to, incorporate people that are actually parts of our lives, and to see like exactly what you're doing and your growth from literally like, a new member of, say, a church community to, standing in front of this phenomenal group of musicians that, from what I hear, you've got like 9 people that are from Austin. One dude's named Austin. And, someone wants to drive an Austin Martin. How did you guys formulate?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of it kind of came together by chance. Josh Wurtzen, he's our keyboard player and writes most of our songs. He and Austin, the drummer, have been friends for years, potentially decades at this point. They're not here to fact check me, so decades at this point because they are old men. And they have been making music together for a while just for fun. And, they had started another band, and eventually one by one, the rest of us got roped in and became what we are today. So as you know, Josh has a brother that goes to the church that you and I were at. And so I knew his brother first. So when I met him, I was like, oh, dude, we've already got a connection point. Turns out Josh and Austin were both from Texas. I'm also from Texas. Josh and I both went to divinity school. There was a lot of stuff that just was like, oh man, like we have so much in common right off the bat. Before we even got to making music together, I think we already all decided like, I like you, let's do this. And so it was easy. It was easy from there.
See, I love how organically you brought up that you guys spent time in divinity school and, the church aspect, which obviously we have that connection there. But I would love to talk about that. I would love to talk about what it's like to create non-church music while living through a church community. And what those parallels are, because for a lot of people that holds what's called a lot of a religious trauma, myself included, and not necessarily from the group that we came from. But yeah, what is it like to really step outside of the, singing for just for the, say, the Lord, or singing now from the heart, and maybe really, I guess, witnessing more through your actual story than what you can in a praise and worship?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I guess one thing that the two contexts have in common is that it all starts with like love and honesty. And so, in that way, it's kind of easy to make the transition. But in a lot of other ways, it was very strange, right? Like when you're leading worship, there are a few things where you're like, it's not this, right? So it's not supposed to be performance. It's not supposed to be about showing off, like, or anything like that. Whereas if you're like singing in a band, like, that's the whole point. You're performing, you are putting on a show, you are, trying to draw people into like what you guys are creating together, as opposed to drawing people in to like focus on something else, right? Or to, be in a more spiritual space. So that, I mean, man, what a long, slow journey and transition that has sort of been. I've kept my feet obviously in both worlds, but it's taken a lot of like exploration and open mic time to get to the point of like, feeling more and more comfortable and having more and more fun on stage. Now, as far as the five of us together, which, if you don't know, it's me on lead vocals, Austin drumming, Josh playing keys, Pete playing guitar, and then we got a guy named Lamar who's playing the bass. I think all of us would describe our beliefs and like spiritual lives very differently. But at the same time, there's a lot that we have in common and still manage to joke about. Like if I could show you screenshots of our text thread just from yesterday, where I'm just like, why are we talking about this? Like, we are not like a church connected group. And like, why is Pete asking, if Jesus came back, like, what would you ask him? I'm like, dude, why are we talking about this in this chat right now? Very strange. But it's interesting that somehow we're a group of people that even though our beliefs are all over the map, we relate to one another well enough to where like no topic of conversation is off the table, including like faith and spiritual stuff. Things go completely in the opposite direction sometimes too. But it's cool to me, at least, that it's like, oh yeah, even that part of myself is not something that I feel like I have to remove from the context or the conversation. It's just like, nope, it's just a part of who I am. In different ways, it's a part of who everyone else is too. And so sometimes it makes its way into the mix and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, see, and again, I love how that becomes massively organic, because we talk about it on the show all the time. The best way to be successful with your art is to be yourself, living on 11, and not hiding any part of yourself from every aspect of it. I love that you guys came together and can continue to come together. That's how, for all those that are starting out in the band aspect of it, that's the relationship you want. You want to be able to share every single thing. These are some of the most important people. These are what a true family is, because you're all speaking that same language for that 3 minutes and 8 seconds on the radio, or that 14 to 15 to 45 minutes on stage. And there's a lot of tightrope walking, and there, you literally need to depend on each other. I know that I can take a look, if I'm fumbling for lyrics, I can take a look back at Kenny, and Kenny will give me that amazing drummer smile, and I know everything is going to be okay. And I see a lot of that with you guys as well, especially the connection with Austin and Josh, but really, the connection that you have, because you are the string that holds them all together. And here you are, together. How did you get that role, and why?
Right. Why is the question. Man, okay, so when I first joined the band, there were 7 of us total. Yeah. And the setup that we had was that Josh was actually the lead singer, and myself and another woman, we were the backup singer. So we're kind of just like, you know, in the background, having a good time, coming up with dance moves, doing harmonies, whatever. And then really once the pandemic hit, a transition kind of came where we went down to 5 people. The other girl left the band, and Josh was like, why am I leading songs, dude? Like, you need to be leading this band. And I think Josh enjoys singing, but like, he's like, if he can get away with not doing it, he's going to find a way to get away with that. And I think that's how it started, where he was like, I'm going to just focus on the instruments. I'm going to focus on the writing. And really what he did, which was like pretty clever on his part, is he started writing songs with my voice in mind instead of his own voice in mind. And so it's like, well, if it's written with my voice in mind, I kind of have to sing it, right? Yeah, I think that's really the main way that it started. It wasn't what was intended from the beginning, but things kind of just panned out to go in that direction. And I'm grateful because when it first that transition first sort of happened, I was really uncomfortable and stressed out. I was like, I remember verbatim thinking to myself, like, who wants to listen to just my voice for 45 minutes straight? You know, the guys can all sing. Okay, we got one. The guys can all sing as well, but because they're all playing other instruments, it's very rare that I can get them backing me up on harmonies or, you know, whatever. And so, I mean, like 90% of the time it is just me. And so it forced me to grow and get more comfortable with relying on my own voice, relying on my own like stage presence, and stepping into that confidence a little bit more. And I did not want to. I didn't want to do that, but being forced to do it, I'm grateful.
Do you feel everything was meant to be? It was for your self-esteem? Do you feel it was something that maybe God or a higher power just put it inside your story, your whole journey for it to happen?
You know, maybe. I definitely see how growing in that way has bled into like other areas of my life and things that, you know, so professionally, I'm a pastor. So I do a lot of, you know, preaching, teaching, being up in front of people. And then, of course, I also lead worship in the church. And there's so much about like performing with this band and being the front person and growing in that way that has translated into like, you know, even though when you're doing things in like a church space, it's not about you. In some ways it's like, but you still are the person in some of these moments, and you do still have to have like a certain level of presence. And I think, yeah, I can see how the two have like kind of come together to like help one another out. I'm like, who am I to say whether it was like all a part of God's like sneaky plan to like get me, you know, to a certain, but it's like, I mean, I can't say it's not. I can't say it's not. So, but I can say that I'm really, really grateful for it. And it feels like such a gift to be able to do the stuff with the band. You know, sometimes, you know, especially like if you're a person of faith and it's easy to think about your life. It's just like everything I have to do like has to be for God. And like, I can't have any fun because it's like I'm taking, you know, time and energy away from like focusing on God. I don't think that's necessarily true. And so I'm always grateful when opportunities to just like have fun and be a human being and like use the gifts that God gave me. Like, cause it's just like, yeah, that's a part of life too. And that's a part of like what God has for us too, is just like being human beings who get to use their gifts, share their gifts, and have a good time. So.
And that's the stories you like to share on the show on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, who is also a front singer himself off the band Shame Prayer, and his name is EZ. BlueZ is in the building with his nice tattoos. Go ahead, EZ BlueZ.
Well, no, it's so awesome, and first of all, I will be the bold one. If you don't want to be the bold one and say it, I will say I knew pretty much from the first time we did the songwriting workshop that you needed to be in front of a band and have musicians backing you up. I knew that was kind of like where you were pointed. So I will make that call. If you don't want to make that call, you want to be humble, that's fine.
You guys did a
You
workshop
be humble.
together?
Yeah, in my house.
I didn't know this.
Oh
this.
yeah. Not only you want to know
crazy.
how well we actually know each other. Like, let's be
How?
honest. Lucretia's on the EZ BlueZ EP.
That's crazy. Which song?
Where Were You?
Wow.
Yeah,
Mine
yeah.
has been blown.
And that was
Yeah.
actually the very first time I ever recorded anything with anyone. That was the very, very first thing I ever did. Was
that was your first song ever recorded.
The first thing I was ever recorded on. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So when I say I saw it, but it's also it's not just the amazing musicality, because you have this amazing, I'll say, throwback retro tone to your voice that gives you that neo soul type of feel. It gives you that Erykah Badu, Jill Scott type of feel to it, where it's this warm blanket. Like, your vocal tone is this amazing warm blanket that you just want to put on and snuggle with, and that is just so super important, especially in going through what we went through as a planet, let alone as a country, let alone as a city, as a state, and all of that. So I love the fact that, yes, COVID you had the COVID edit. But now this is what needs to happen, because you have this incredible tone that is so reassuring. Now, as you continue to grow and evolve and move forward, is it just going to be, OK Company stuff, or, is the Lucretia solo project going to come out with like a whole bunch of drum and bass stuff on there? Are we going to get like a Beyonce Lemonade going on? Like, what's the deal? Come on.
Man, I love that. So to be honest, I almost every single year since I was getting ready to turn 30, I have kind of had my own personal daydream of like, I need to do a solo show for my birthday of just like my own original music, and put a band together and just do that for my birthday. And every single year I've talked myself out of it because the truth is, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Justin says it's not a lot of work. I mean, you're probably right, but I find some way to talk myself out of it every time. I'm
the wrong person to bring that up to. I'm the wrong person.
Maybe the right person. And so this year, I love it. This year, I even went so far as to make a set list. I actually have a set list in my phone right now of original songs. And I think, the thing that sort of makes it, a little bit tricky to think like, oh, here's my original music, I'll just work that into OK Company. We are like, we're a band, and we're like a band with like a particular sound. And it's like, not everything that I write, like, it is going to fit that sound. And honestly, the guys aren't going to like everything that I write, right? And that's totally fine. But it's like, when you kind of do your own thing, it's like, then it's like, it doesn't matter what anybody else wants. It doesn't matter what anybody else likes. Like, this is my music. And like, it's on me to sort of like, put the pieces together and like fulfill that vision. Whereas like with OK Company, we've got like a group vision that we're putting together, and therefore like not everything that gets thrown on the table makes it to the stage. And so it's in the back of my head. I want to do it. I do want to do it one day.
I'm taking it out of the back of your head right now, because I've got an intimate venue that's like a 35 person cap. It's a dry venue, so it can be all ages. And it's a Witch Bitch Thrift, which is community owned. it represents every part of the community. I think it'll blend really well with the two different worlds, and it'll also bring two worlds together. Obviously we hit up Jess, and and you guys can just keep it in that solo aspect of it, because I know that you also play or so you can either do the keys, or you do the vocal as well, or have Jess do your keys and stuff like that. See, it's a done deal. See, I've already booked the show. We already sold the first 50 tickets. So it's only a 30 cap room, but
we're already sold out. We're already over capacity.
But if you look at it, like having it, especially like as a birthday event, and then even let's say take half of the proceeds and put it towards A, B, C, D, or X, Y, Z, type of charity. Now you're multi-level. And I think that is absolutely perfect. And yeah, that's definitely that's the next calling aspect of it. In fact, you could even have it donate some of the stuff to Erica's after school program that she does.
Oh, that's right.
And you keep it in the family.
Always a man with a plan.
Speaking of,
I'm just the person with the dreams,
Yeah. VMB's back up.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's such good news. That's such good news.
I got you.
Oh man.
All right.
If you don't know what that is, Preston, that's the whole virtual merch situation that we got. Okay.
I'm aware.
Yeah. The show's got one too. The show's got one too.
Just being with Easy and his adventures, and just like being just a spectator, just seeing him perform. I'm aware of the lingo, sometimes the non-verbatim. I don't know if you have it within your band. I think every band has a non-verbatim where they don't have to even talk. When they play, they know what's going on, and it's just amazing just to see that in the background. So like, even if you just like see like a band during a practice, like they don't have to talk to each other. They already know how to communicate just through instruments and just through facial expressions, and then you just see a good amount of art come out. Just tell us about that whole creative process when it comes like just like creating music, or just experimenting with your sound, and just like trying different movements when it comes to your music, and just giving a great show for the audience. Just tell us a little bit about that for our show.
Yes, definitely. So I like to think that like the five of us kind of wear slightly different creative hats when it comes to that sort of process. And so like I said before, Josh does a lot of the songwriting on his own. I'd say probably about like 90% of the songs we do are songs that either he wrote on his own, or like, maybe I popped in to like co-write a little bit, or Pete pops in or whatever. But most of it's him, and he will just like shoot us things via text or email and be like, check this out. And if something hits, we'll run with it during practice. And if not, you'll just get like radio silence, which is just like, no shade at all, but it's like, oh, it's 2023. It's like, what silence means, right? It's like, oh, it just means it. But once we get in the room together, it's so cool, because it's like everybody, it's not like Josh comes to a session, it's just like, okay, this is what I'm thinking for the drums, this is what I'm thinking for this. It's just like, no, he starts playing and singing, and people just add in like what they hear or what they feel for their own instrument and part. And if the vibe is vibing, we're like, ooh, yeah, like we keep running with it. If it's not quite right, like we tweak. The nice thing is that no one takes it personally, right? Like me, as somebody who doesn't play the guitar, right? I know nothing about the guitar. I can still turn to Pete and be like, hey, can you make it more like do-do-do-do-do-do? And I'll be like, it's not technical terms at all, but like somehow he can interpret it and be like, all right, fine, I'll try some do-do-do-do-do-do and see how it goes. And like we all do that to each other. And it's never any hard feelings. There's never any offense taken. It's all about like everybody gets to kind of like poke and pitch and like do all of the stuff.
There's no overstepping each other.
And then also too, sometimes like sometimes you're just like, no, actually no, I like what I just did, and I'm just gonna keep doing it. And then it's like, all right, bet, like moving on. Moving on. And I really appreciate too, Pete's really good at casting like group vision for like how to make the song dynamic and like, how to make sure our pieces fit well together. And then me as the lead singer, I'm kind of just left to my own devices. And so that's what I do. I just, so far so good, right? Like nobody's ever in the middle of a session been like, "What are you doing?" And thank God for that because I'd be really sad. So they just let me do my thing, and it all comes together.
No, I totally get that, but it's so funny because I love that push and pull. So there's times in practice, like I treat practice like a live performance. So I'll do some of my like live performance shtick in practice because if I can make the band laugh while they're trying to be serious, like in the moment, then I know that what I have is good material to take onto an unsuspecting audience. But I'll do it, and it's a lot comes from like I love Broadway. I'm a huge fan of Broadway, and some of the most incredible Broadway performers, because it's live theater, they'll try to throw in barbs to break the other character. And you saw a lot of that in the producers with Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, where they would start to tease each other and try to get them to break character in front of the live audience. So I will try to do that in our performances as well. Now, what I love about your performance, though, is it's this incredible intimate aspect of it where you really do feel that family, that familial type of vibe to it. Now, you say Josh is mainly 90% of the songwriting aspect of it, and he looks at it from putting your voice in there. But something's not sitting right with me. If I'm being honest, your swag is not something that can be written. So how do you put your spin on it, especially if someone else is writing it?
You know what? I will say I don't fully know if I do. And I think, yeah, I know, scandal. I think part of that comes from like, singing in a church context, right? Where I like one of the things that I remember from early on, because I used to have this thing where like, other people would put a set together and I'd be like, I don't like that song, so I don't want to lead it. And I remember like having people be like, hey, you're not always going to like the song. You still have to be able to lead it. And, that's not to say that like, oh, sometimes I don't like the song. That's more so to say that it's like, oh, I do have like that ability to be able to like step into a song that may not fully resonate with me, but I still know how to wear it, right? Like I still know how to put it on and get it legs, make it walk, whatever. So I guess that's one answer. The other part, I'm like, am I intentional? Right. I'm like, I would have to really think about like, do I intentionally try to put my own whatever on it? I honestly don't know if I do. I think what I'll say is I do really recognize that there's more growth for me there in terms of like not just taking what I'm given and leaving it at that, or like maybe taking it up half a notch. Like I do think that I could really grow in that area of like, okay, I know I was given like XYZ, but like let me really try to like put my own spin on it or whatever. That's not something that I'm very intentional about at this stage, to be honest.
I also love the fact that you're not intentional about it because you do it so well. You have your own tone, you have your own delivery aspect of it. Now, that also speaks amazing for how well Josh knows you as an artist, to be able to write into that type of vein, like with myself. And again, I do things totally differently than everyone else because I'm wacky. I always look at it as what character am I playing? And like with the attitude in which the song has been written, I'm like, oh, this is a drunken master. So I get to bumble all over the stage and slur my words together and attack it from that point of view. Or this one is, you know, the arrogant teenager that is just being massively rebellious. And that's what that's the character I need to play between each and every single aspect of it. But for me, I play and perform for myself and only myself. It's one of the reasons why worship never really works so well for me, because they're like, it's not about you doing. I'm like, but I can. There's this thing
But
in
it's
here.
me.
Yeah, I can belt out. I was like, I just can't not be me. So I'm gonna be back there because it's probably better for everybody else. You know, but that's a me thing. That's one of my you know, one of the things that holds me back, and that's fine. You know.
Yeah, and I hear that too.
Now,
Like I do sometimes like try to tell myself like, oh, like this song is clearly about like somebody who's like really heartbroken. I'm like, okay, like let me put my heartbroken hat on and like really pretend like I'm really just like struggling and sad and you know, but I think there's a lot of stars thinking.
well, I mean, it's very Jedi. Do or do not, there is no try. And here you are, you're knocking it out of the park without trying. So I think that's awesome. So Yoda
Appreciate
really
it.
appreciates you. So now what's next? You know, you guys have released a bunch of new music. You've got some incredible artwork out there. You know, I know the your merch game's about to like level up to a hardcore aspect.
Yes.
And you've got like coming up on what is it, the 6th? You guys are going to New London. Is this your first time hitting New London, or is it something you've done a bunch of times?
Yes, so this is our first time going out to New London, November 4th, I believe, which is a Saturday. Yeah, November 4th, we're going to be at the Oasis Pub in New London. I'm really excited because I don't know if you know this, Jessie lives in New London now. So I feel like we're doing a show just, yeah. So I feel like we're doing a show just for her, slash whoever else is out there. But that's nice. And then on the 18th, we're actually playing in Buffalo, New York, which also a first time for us, but that's Pete's hometown. So we will be playing at Milky's Elmwood Lounge on the 18th. So we're traveling. We were supposed to play in Hartford last weekend, but you know, things ended up falling through. But this like fall season was about to be like our, oh my gosh, all of our shows are out of town. And so that's where we are right now. It's like, we're traveling a little bit, which is exciting to me. I love it when like new audiences get to hear our music. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. And then actually this week, or actually it's Friday now. So I guess next week, we're recording our next EP. We haven't named it yet. Yeah, I mean, you know, the ball is rolling. Once the momentum is there, man, you just got to crank them out. So I know we just released, I think in July of this year. Hopefully we'll have this one done like maybe early 2024. Okay. And yeah, so we go in to record this coming Wednesday and Thursday. We got 5 songs slated in. And we're going to be over at Sonolist in Waterford, nice. Which if you've ever heard of that place or if you know Evan, he's incredible. And the studio itself is incredible. So we're excited.
You know, it's so interesting because you guys always sit on the back of my mind because I do feel that there's a bill that would be super beneficial to both you guys and Carol Sylvan and the Name Droppers, just because you guys are sitting at kind of different there's different sides of the spectrum of neo soul music, and I think that they have an older audience that would benefit from listening to you guys, and you guys have a younger audience that would benefit from listening to her. We definitely got to contact you with Vic and get that ball rolling, because I think those shows, especially like at a Cafe 9 or something along those lines, would be really super beneficial. Actually, it'd probably be even better at the Cellar, if I'm being real, mainly because I want to eat the food. Whatever, the Cellar's got delicious food.
Uh-huh.
Hungry Man. You know, you gotta have your Huggy Bear. I miss the Huggy Bear. Okay, but no, it's so super important. And as you guys continue to grow and move forward, you know, who's on that hit list? Who's on that like, I would love to play. And it doesn't have to be local. Like if you want to take a swing and be like, honestly, I would love Arrested Development to get back together and us play a show with Arrested Development. I'm gonna respect that because I also would love that.
Me too. On WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, who is really smiled right now. So I guess I just broke him. His name is EZ BlueZ is in the building. Everything's okay. We have great company on Behind the Brand. Let's go, Easy.
I love
that. I love that.
You need to start taking that on the stage. You need to be like, and everything's okay because you're in great company.
And everything's okay.
You can steal that. You can definitely steal that.
I appreciate the gift.
All right. You're absolutely welcome.
I love it.
So Dish now. Dish. Who's the top three?
Yes. Okay. So I got to say, I feel bad because I am the worst person to ask this question out of everybody in my band because I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't know any music. I don't know any bands. I don't know nothing. But as far as people that I feel like it's like, oh, I haven't gotten to play with them enough. I don't think we ever yet have been on a bill with Love & Co., which is a local band. Our bassist is their guitarist. And so it's like, why are we not on bill together? And that was going to be our show in Hartford last weekend that fell through. And I'm just like, come on, like, can we get it together? So I'm like, I'm still waiting to be on a stage with them. I'm trying to think, like, who else have we, this is just bringing back so many memories of so many great shows with local artists. I'm just going to name people that I love. I mean, like, I love playing with Finn, loved playing with Jesse Grizz, loved the show that we were able to do with Lamont when he had his EP released earlier this year, I believe. You know, we've done shows with Steph. We did one show with you guys with Shane Penguin at Stella Blues. Like, that was so much fun. I don't know, man. You know what it is I don't even have like a dream bill. I miss playing with my friends. I'm like, can I just get shows every weekend through the end of the year with my friends and just have a good time? That's really what I miss. It's been a long summer with not a ton of shows. And some of the shows that we did have were like outdoor shows that got rained out or like whatever. I'm like, give me back all my shows and give me back all my friends because I miss it.
You know, I think that actually opens up a beautiful thing, and I think I'm going to try to do this next spring into summer. We'll start to do some some backyard shows that if they do get rained out, they're turning into living room shows. Just some small setups of just hitting up the friends and being like, this weekend, you know, so and so is going to come to the house, and we're all just gonna hang out. And you know, I got a new barbecue. We'll get some barbecue up there. We'll get Preston on the grill, making some deliciousness, and you know, we'll raise some money.
No, you will definitely
yes, we
not.
will.
No, you will
sir.
No,
sir.
Get a professional. Do not hire your friends.
That's but it's all about the friends. It's all about the friends.
No, when it comes to consumption, do not hire your friends.
All right. So we'll talk.
I'm just being honest. This is respect.
We'll talk to our
I'm just being honest. We will talk to our heartfelt. We'll talk to many people we know within the culinary community in New Haven. But let's talk about the music community for right now. You named a lot of great people that within the local range when it comes to musicians. What do you feel that the music community within the New Havens can do better? What do you feel that can do better within the community? Like, we've seen a lot of support with just a lot of guests that we had on this program, and we've heard a lot of great answers. But this is the first time I'm wondering, like, what do you feel the community can do better when it comes to growth within the independent music community within New Haven?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for all local musicians, but
Of course.
it does feel like a little bit of a battle to like get gigs at local spots. And sometimes I think that's because we have a lot of local talent, but sometimes I'm like, hey, like who are these randos from like XYZ like state, And I'm just like, oh, like I get it, like we've all got our thing to do, but
Right.
I wish that venues made it a little bit easier for local artists to book shows. And even if it's just like, we did lose a few things during the pandemic. Like I remember Pacific Standard Taverns
Yeah.
open mic was like a super valuable space. We just lost the State House earlier this year, right? It's like, oh, like we've taken a few hits. I mean, we even lost Karaoke Heroes. You know what I mean? Like,
Karaoke Heroes was a plus, yeah.
I'm just saying, it was a vibe. And so I think, I can't really name why we took those L's other than just like, bad timing and bad economic situations. But those are some really big losses. And so I hope that like the places that are still around and any new places that might pop up would just really have a heart for building relationships with local artists and just being intentional about like leaving room for them. Even just like reaching out and being like, hey, we have even if it's a Tuesday night, right? Like we have a Tuesday night open. People love live music, just open up that space and let folks have it.
And that being said, also as an artist point of view as well, there's a responsibility there. If they do open up a Tuesday night, don't book, two doors down on Thursday. You know what I mean? Like, if you're if they open up Tuesday night at Cafe 9, don't play on Thursday at Stella Blues. Because you're literally cutting yourself off. You're not giving your audience an opportunity to pick a show, and you're also not making those shows special. It is as important as it is to get booked. It's also important not to overbook yourself because you're going to burn out your audience and you're going to burn out your following, and that's something you definitely don't want to do because you never know which show is going to be that one that has that one person that could change your entire life and existence. So you want to make sure that you're showing up all best of the entire that way through. That being
For
said, if you want to
sure.
play New London on Tuesday and New Haven on Thursday, that makes sense because it's an hour plus difference between the venues. You know what I'm saying?
And
But that's
really
just
what I mean, not necessarily like, oh, like, okay, company needs more gigs, but there are so many local groups and so much local talent that like we could legitimately like book out some of these venues every night of the week and have a different performance, every single time because there's just a wealth of talent and beauty here. I don't know if it's like that in every city, but it feels really special that New Haven has so much to offer. So that's really more so what I mean. Not that like we want to hog every day of the week.
So this comes to a question
every
just for
day.
both of you. A question just for Easy and okay. Do you feel it's poor planning when it comes to this?
I'm sorry, hold on. My thing went off. Can you ask that one more time?
No, I'm just saying this is a question just for both of you because you're both musicians and just like a little bit about the business when it comes to venues and just like booking artists and stuff like that. Do you feel it's more of poor planning? No preparation sometimes?
What do you think?
Well, for me, I always look at it as, everyone looks at a number one draft pick and wonders how they blow through their first couple of million within the first aspect. It's because they came up broke. It's because they understood what it was like to be poor. They understood what it was like not to eat. So I understand completely what it's like never to play a show. And I know how awesome it is to play a show. And if it was up to me, I'd be playing a show right now. Like, and every second from that day, because it is the best feeling in the entire world. And I need more of it. And I want to play more of it. But you have to deal with, the economic aspect of it. And, and being a musician, it's, it's crazy. You're throwing hundreds of dollars into, a car worth of equipment, and then you're driving, 50 miles to a place to maybe make $20. It doesn't necessarily, work out in your type of favor, but that's only if you're looking at it in the short term. And I talk about Doyle Brunson, Texas Hold'em champion 2 years back to back with the same hand, 10-2. He wrote a book and he talks about how he doesn't look at it as each hand is important. He looks at it as his entire career of poker is one hand. And that's kind of how you have to look at it as an artist. And there's going to be some times where, you might just be eating ramen because that's what's there. But there's also going to be those times where you can eat filet mignon. You want to just try to balance yourself out so you're eating a cheeseburger every single night. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No, I just say I appreciate that, and that you brought up the money aspect of it. I always forget about that part, right? It's like
it's a great scenario.
It's like nobody wants to play for free, and of course, venues want to make sure that you are bringing in people,
right.
And not just taking the space. So that always makes things a little bit tricky too.
Well, unfortunately, things are getting super tricky, and they're pulling the Apollo curtain on us right now. But this time is all yours. We want to give you the opportunity to tell people how they can connect with you, how they connect with OK Company, how they can support you, how they can invest in you and your dreams. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. So you can find us on social media. Instagram is okco.nhb. And to be honest, if those of us in the band who are not old in age are old in spirit. So we are not super active on social media, but whenever we have shows or anything going on, new releases, whatever, we always post it. So you might not hear from us often, but when you do hear from us, it matters. So you can find us there. We also have a website, okconhb.com. And we have music out. So we've released 3 EPs up to this point under the name of OK Company. And you can find that music literally on every platform that you can find your music on. So check us out. My thing that I always say is the canned music is great, but there's nothing like the live situation. So if you get a chance to come see us live, definitely do, because that is the most fun.
November 4th.
Wish us luck this week. Wish us luck as we're recording the next thing, and hopefully it'll be the best thing.
That's okay with me. Myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City Made, EZ BlueZ. Thank you so much for being part of the show. We do appreciate you. We really do.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it, too.
Awesome. Strange Love is about to play now from OK Company on Behind the Brand on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, New Haven. Appreciate everyone.
If I give you my heart, please don't break it. It's one of a kind. Because my love and I'm